they had a certain something.
Alfred was always effortlessly brilliant.
You'd have to be deaf to not understand how funny he was, and how inventive he was, and how clever he was.
They chased one goal relentlessly.
Al always wanted to be a performer.
He was willing to do what was ever necessary so he could do his music.
Through struggles,
when we hit the stage, it was just instant wall of hatred coming at us.
He'd be actually so broke that we would set up a little corner on the street and play, and people would throw money in.
and setbacks.
Some kid came up to him in the parking lot and says, are you Weird Al? And Al said, yeah. And the kid says, you suck.
There wasn't much call for rock and roll accordion.
Some people are just driven. A comic genius's defiant pursuit of superstardom.
And I said, who the hell's Weird Al? And why are you calling me?
He stayed up there just to piss him off. Oh, you hate this? Wait for the next one. Oh, you didn't like that? See how this is.
Never before seen images, stories, and revelations from the people who know what really happened.
It's a little hard to find yourself when, you've got Mom looking through the binoculars at you.
Because they lived it with him.
When I saw the look on his face, I knew that he wanted to do this for the rest of his life.
I don't think there was a lot of people who believed that he was really going to make a living at this.
This is Driven. Weird Al.
Al was born on October 23rd, 1959.
There hadn't been a baby in the family for quite a few years.
Alfred's the only child after 10 years, so that made me the happiest man in Linwood.
He was raised in Linwood, California. It was an all-American city at that time.
It was an upper middle class, nice neighborhood.
They're a good Christian family, and I think that helped keep him on the straight and narrow.
Al's parents were very conservative. They were older than the other parents.
He grew up surrounded by adults.
He didn't go out many places by himself.
Al was sheltered quite a bit and not allowed to do things perhaps that other kids do.
We watched over him very carefully. All of us did. My mother used to put him in dresses because she was sewing for the other little kids in the family.
We just dance on one leg and turn around.
But it never got past the backyard.
He had an amazing mind for figuring things out.
He could remember things that astounded me.
He just seemed gifted in that way.
Al loved to add strings of numbers, and the more challenging, the better.
I'd say 24 and 36, and he'd figure it up in his head, and he'd give me some bigger numbers.
It was always difficult when Al was little because he was so smart that he always craved more.
First day of school, he just went and set up on the school steps and just waited for the doors to open, and he was ready to go to school. One day he was in the hallway, and some of the kids were teasing him, and they put him up against the wall, and they said, spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And he says, I just gave them a bunch of letters. He says, they didn't know the difference. And he said, I just walked right past them.
Alfred knew how to hold his own, I tell you the truth. Not through his fisticuffs or anything like that, but through his knowledge.
One of the teachers in his grammar school noticed that he was through with his work faster, and she says, you better get something else for him to do to keep him interested,
So when a salesman came to the door and offered accordion lessons, it seemed like the perfect option, and they signed him right up.
He could have had accordion lesson or some other lesson, trumpet or something. We chose accordion.
I was tickled pink when Alfred started.
He took to it, and he just had a ball.
It sounded like it was a little one-man band.
He was playing quite well in no time.
He was always practicing with the thing.
I think he had written something like 20 songs. We would give him money like most parents do, for a little show.
He'd play out in the backyard there, entertain the neighbors and everybody.